halftime. How about those 4 kiddos, though, being able to get down on that field, what they're going to experience. Incredible.
Brees wide open, and Smith, what a way to do it!
Super Bowl champs for the first time ever. Sean Payton, in his 4th year as head coach, realizing the dream of so many New Orleanians and so many folks who have been rooting for the Saints, waiting for this to happen. Drew Brees with a 32 for 39 night for 288
Brees
yards.
was this close to signing with the Dolphins himself. But when Miami got spooked about Drew's surgically repaired shoulder, the Saints stepped up, so Brees headed to the Bayou. But what if Brees had gone to Miami?
If Drew Brees signed with the Miami Dolphins instead of the New Orleans Saints in the 2005 offseason. So with the second pick, the Saints, without Brees, select quarterback Vince Young from Texas. The third pick, the Titans select the greatest quarterback of all time, Jay Cutler, yay! The Broncos don't select a quarterback and wait for next year. The Dolphins win a few more games and the Saints lose a few more games, but it doesn't really matter because the Colts still beat the Bears in the Super Bowl. In the 2007 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints selected Adrian Peterson, but the Vikings still got a good running back in Marshawn Lynch. The Dolphins trade up a couple picks and select cornerback Darrelle Revis. The Dolphins make a major improvement, going 11-5 instead of 1-15. That actually happened, and they're met with the 16-0 Patriots in the AFC Championship game with the Super Bowl on the line. As usual, the Dolphins look like they were going to beat the Patriots, but somehow the Patriots always find ways for teams to choke and for them to come back, and the Patriots win. The Dolphins were close to the red zone with just a couple minutes left, but Brees threw an interception, and Brady had a crazy drive, ending with a touchdown and a QB sneak 2-point conversion, joining Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson as teams to choke to the Patriots. But the Patriots still can't stop Eli Manning and David Tyree's helmet as they lose in the Super Bowl to the Giants. In the draft, the Broncos select quarterback Matt Ryan. Falcons decided to gamble and went with quarterback Michael Vick instead of Matt Ryan. In the second round, the Dolphins get tight end Martellus Bennett to help out their offense. 2008 season was a big one. We saw many changes, except Brady still hurt his knee, and the Lions still went 0-16. The Dolphins won the AFC in a championship game against the Steelers since the Dolphins division was wide open with Brady hurt. They won the division in real life, and they're winning again here. But this time, they'll win the whole conference and place Arizona in the Super Bowl. It was a back-and-forth battle. But many people didn't expect the underdogs to come out with this one, and the Cardinals have won the Super Bowl. Questions start to arise about Drew Brees' ability since he's choked in the past 2 playoffs, but he's back with the Dolphins and ready for a big season. In the draft, the Saints select defensive end Brian Orakpo. In the first round, the Dolphins selected wide receiver Kenny Britt, and in the second round, they selected defensive tackle Terrence Knighton. The Vikings don't sign Brett Favre, instead use their money on Dante Hall, wide receiver. The Dolphins played well and were the 5th seed in the AFC, and their Cinderella story continued all the way to the Super Bowl, where they were met with the Vikings. Yes, the Vikings. They're running high off their trade for Ben Roethlisberger, giving up Travaris Jackson and several picks. But let's go back a second and talk about the Saints. They played really well this season and went to the NFC Championship game, but still lost to the Vikings, but they put up a good fight. Vince Young seems like their quarterback of the future, but there are eyeing quarterbacks in the draft. This Super Bowl was another great one. It went back and forth, but Drew Brees got his first Lombardi with the Dolphins in the end. In the draft, the Dolphins traded up and selected safety Earl Thomas. Also in the draft, the Saints also traded up and shocked everybody, taking quarterback Tim Tebow from Florida. Since the Steelers were bad without Big Ben in the 2009 season, they had a high draft pick and selected tackle Trent Williams. And also with the Vikings pick, they selected defensive end Jerry Hughes. The Patriots are frustrated because they keep losing to the division to the Dolphins, and in free agency signed aging running back LaDainian Tomlinson. And after winning the Super Bowl, the Cardinals think they can still contend and sign Pac-Man Jones for 1 year. At the midseason mark, the Dolphins looked destined for a running back, so they traded their 2012 first-round pick for running back Jamal Charles from the Chiefs. The 2011 season was odd for the Saints. Tebow played tight end for most of the start of the season, and Vince Young looked promising but fell apart in the second half. Tebow eventually became the starter, and things didn't get much better from there. Adrian Peterson still had a good year, but the rest of the Saints roster looked pretty bad, and they weren't even able to make the playoffs, going 8-8. For the Dolphins, they didn't do too well either. Brees got hurt early in the season, and Jamal Charles didn't meet their expectations for him. The Patriots win the division and go to the Super Bowl since the Steelers don't have a quarterback. There they're met with the Green Bay Packers, who just narrowly beat out Big Ben's Vikings in the NFC Championship game. Super Bowl ends with Brady getting the best of Rodgers and winning his Super Bowl. In free agency, Peyton Manning signs a deal with the Detroit Lions so Matthew Stafford can have a mentor. 2011 draft was by far the craziest draft in this What If. With the first pick, the Steelers select quarterback Cam Newton, but with the second pick, the Broncos did pretty good with Matty Ice, so the Cardinals get Von Miller, leaving Patrick Peterson to fall to the Atlanta Falcons. But that's not all, because the Miami Dolphins draft J.J. Watt. The Panthers draft quarterback Jake Locker, since the Titans have a solid quarterback in Jay Cutler. While the Detroit Lions used their first-round pick on center Mike Pouncey to protect Peyton Manning. The Saints still draft defensive end Cameron Jordan, but with their second first-round pick, they take tackle Nate Solder. And in the second round, they take center Rodney Hudson to boost up that offensive line. In the second round, the Miami Dolphins select wide receiver Randall Cobb, and the New England Patriots select running back DeMarco Murray. In the fifth round, the Vikings took a chance on little-known cornerback Richard Sherman. Little did they know he'd become a star. Steelers got the first seed in the playoffs thanks to a MVP-like rookie season from Cam Newton. Dolphins were the second seed in the AFC and went to the AFC Championship game versus the Steelers, and they ended up winning and beating the Steelers 2 weeks from then to get their second Super Bowl. So guys, that's the end of the What If. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and bye.